I think the big question in everybody's mind is, or at least I'm seeing is, other than who's winning what, um, is well. Let me before I get to this, I want to ask Davies' question, but before I do this, let's just do a report right now. Looking at my latest thing it's the AP numbers are good. They've declared Wisconsin for Biden. They've declared that Biden has 237 electoral votes. Trump has 214. I have Biden with 70,400,000 popular vote, and Trump with 300,000 popular vote. Rounding a little bit. So this is going to change shortly, I'm sure. But the question is, how long do the states, counties have to tabulate the results of an election before a winner for the president has to be called?
The answer is it varies from state to state. Each state has different rules about when they have to have all the votes in. So that's the first level, is getting the votes in. Second level is counting those votes. And then we're used to what the media says, which is the media makes their predictions and calls it. But that's not the whole process. There's a whole process going behind the scenes that most of us never see, which is it varies from state to state. The counties or the municipalities have to turn in their results to the state and certify it to their Secretary of State, in most cases, or whoever their head election official is. And
right.
then you've got the whole process with the Electoral College.
Right.
Once all those results have been certified, and when does the Electoral College meet? They don't meet until
December.
Yeah. So we're not actually electing a president until they've met and they elect the president.
Right. So a lot of this you have to call it, is driven by the media, not to be media slamming, but it's the media that needs to call it. We need an answer now. It's a 24-hour news cycle. We can't wait for our information. The waiting happens. And in fact, no states know the precise count on election day. They may call it because it's so no one can really catch it, but the one side can't catch the other. But that's not a requirement. And what the states are doing is they're doing a popular vote to choose electors. Then in a month or so, we're going to go and do some vote. So we got to remember that too. And then so the Constitution, Article 2, Section 1, that I happen to have in front of me, that just declares that it's the state processes that decide the electors. It's not the federal. Elections are state-governed things. So some states, 5 states, do only mail-in voting. Some states do a combination of mail, absentee, and live. Some states, in Florida, they let all of the absentee and mail ballots be counted for the last 2 weeks. So Florida's numbers came in quickly yesterday. The opposite is true in Pennsylvania, where officials are not allowed until the morning of the election day to process mail-in ballots. So there's a wide variety of these rules.
And we've had it before. So in Florida, in the big contested election between Bush and Gore,
2000,
right? 2000. When they counted the ballots in Florida, Gore had won by about 200 votes. And then they started getting into the late arriving absentee ballots, all the things that people are, have some questions about, have some discussions about, absentee ballots that didn't arrive until the next day in the mail. And then they started talking about provisional ballots and challenge ballots, and all that happened. That was all after they went through and finished the count of what was in hand on the day of election.
Mm-hmm. And
so we've always done this.
Always done it. And actually in that, the press had called Florida for Bush. Gore called Bush up and conceded the race.
Right.
Then later on in the middle of the night, they I forget who it was that uncalled Florida. So Gore called Bush up and withdrew his concession that he wasn't very happy. I'm sure Bush wasn't. Didn't blame him. He was like asleep and celebrating. He gets woken up like, oh,
I don't want to talk to him.
And then we had the whole, and then Gore chose 4 counties to do a recount in, and we know that. So guess how many times a election has landed before the Supreme Court?
That's a good question. Twice?
Yes. Ding, ding,
Ooh.
1876 and 2000 are the only 2 times. Because
I don't remember 1876 very well.
Well,
I was young.
You have grayer hair than me and less hair than me. Both of those things are true. I only speak the truth. So, so election returns can come in because we forget. We need to remember with mail-in votes. Our veterans vote by mail. So Missouri veterans have mailed them in. We don't know when those are going to come in.
And service overseas, absolutely.
Yep. And then with the pandemic, 90 or 100 million people voted not live, whether absentee in person, absentee mail, or mail in. Because my dad turns 82 in a month, and your mom is 82, and so we got to have mail in voting for have it. Is that you dinging or me dinging?
No, it's probably me, but it may be you texting me.
Oh, I'm not texting you. Don't flatter me.